So one question I get asked a lot by teachers is, how do I record my screen so that I can save it as a video and share it with my students? Especially in a remote learning situation, this can be pretty important. It's one thing to record a video on your laptop or your phone and share that with your students, but it's another thing to actually record what's going on your screen. So in this video, I want to explore that. Having said that, there are a lot of applications out there that can be helpful to you in order to do that. I mean, really, you just need to Google screen recording and you'll be bombarded with quite a few of them. And I'll probably pop a few of the options up here on the screen during the editing phase of this video. But what I would like to do in this video is specifically take a look at Google Meet to see how we could do that. Because Google Meet may be an application that you're already using to host some kind of synchronous web session. And there's a little built-in recording utility that you can actually use in order to record a session. So we might as well take advantage of that and see how we can record our screen so that we might save that as a video for our students for later viewing. So let's go ahead and see how we might do that. So for this video, I'm going to use this Google slide. You can use whatever you wish, whatever materials you are presenting to your students, but I find the Google slide to be very easy to prepare ahead of time and utilize. Now, I didn't actually prepare this Google slide. I created a new one from a template that was already on Google's site, so don't think that I had anything to do with this. You could find it yourself. Hopefully you'll be using your own presentation material. So what we're going to need to do next is to find Google Meet. Now, if you're in any one of your Google applications, and I have my Google Drive open here, at the top right, under the app button, you should find Google Meet. Now, if you don't, that just might mean that it has not been enabled for you by your administrator, so you may need to talk to them about that. But if you do find it, we can go ahead and click that. Now when we get to Google Meet for the first time, we are presented with an artsy screen with the time and the date and the option to join or start a meeting. So the first thing we're going to do to start our meeting is to click this Join or Start a Meeting button. And what that will do is it will prompt us for a meeting code or a nickname. Now if you were joining someone else's meeting, you'd put that meeting code in. They would provide that for you. We're just going to create our own, so we can either leave that blank or we can enter a nickname. I'll just say demo recording session, and I'll click continue. Now what that will do is it will start getting our meeting ready. Now for you, you may be prompted with some messages about your microphone and your camera. I don't have those prompts because I've used this before and I have enabled them on my computer. So you may get some prompts that ask you, do you want Google Meet or the slide or the browser to allow access to your microphone and your camera? So you're going to need to set those accordingly. Now for this particular session, I don't really need the camera, but I do need the microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera. And for the rest of this session, I'm just going to leave my microphone on. Now the next thing we're going to do is click Join Meeting. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us the option of sharing this information with other people that we may want to join our session. Now if you were doing a synchronous activity, a live session where you wanted people to join you, then you could go ahead and share that information with whomever you wanted to join. For this particular video, I just want to record my screen. I really don't want anybody else in here, so I'm not going to invite people. One bit of warning, if you are going to invite other people into a session you plan on recording, you do need to get their permission. So if you are a teacher and you're inviting students, you really need to make sure that you get parent permission before you record a session. Because I don't have any students coming into this, I'm not going to have to worry about that. Now, I'm not going to invite anybody else, so I'm just going to click the X there. So here we can see this is my initial, and I'm all set in my session. The session is live, I'm in it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right down here to the right hand side and I'm going to take a look at my option. Now we'll see here quite a few different options that we have. The only one we're going to really worry about in this video is recording the meeting. So I'm going to click Record Meeting. What that's going to do is prompt me with just the message and the note that I had mentioned before. Ask for consent. So If you're recording that meeting, again, you need consent of all the participants. And if you're dealing with kids, you need to make sure you have consent from their parents. Okay, so I'm going to accept that. And down here on the left is going to say recording is going to start soon. And so now I see at the top right, it's now recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present. All right, so I'm going to click present. And what I'm going to choose is a window or my entire screen. Now that's a preference for you. If you want the entire screen to be shown, you can click that. I'm just going to be using a window in my browser, so I'm just going to click that. And so what it wants to know here is which window do you want to share. So I'm going to click this one. It's the only browser that I have open right now, and I'm going to click share. And now what I am doing is I'm presenting my screen. So right now it's recording this. So you probably don't want this in your video for very long. So you want to hop over to the tab that you really want to record, and then we're going to click present. Now as I go into present mode, it will appear as if my screen has been cut off. And that's really just the perspective of this video right now because I'm only recording a portion of my screen. But in the Google Meet recording, everybody will be able to see the entire screen. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to exit the present mode so that you can see in my entire window. So the important thing to keep in mind is the fact that this session is still being recorded, and I'm recording my slides. So I can give my introduction, I can talk about this slide, I can talk about this slide, I can do whatever it is that I'm looking to do. And I can record and talk and go through the entire presentation as I normally would. If I need to go open up a new tab and view something, I can certainly do that. And when I'm done, I can come back here to my recording and I can choose to stop it. Now in order to stop it, we're going to come right down here to the bottom where our more options are, and I'm going to click stop recording. And then I'll click stop recording. And then what's going to happen is this recording is going to automatically save to my Google Drive. Now in my experience, you will get an email notification when that actually shows up in your Google Drive, but I'm going to pop over here to my Google Drive anyway, and I'm going to take a look for that particular video. Now at the present, I don't see it popping up here. I don't have a lot going on. I'm going to click refresh. See if we get any mention of it. Nope, not at this moment. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to let this load, and I'll come back and edit out the silence and tell you how long it actually took for me to see that video pop up. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop presenting, and I'm actually going to leave this conference now. So this meeting is done, so I'm going to leave it. All right, and then we'll return to the home screen. All right, so I will let you know when that video pops up, and then we'll talk about what you can do next. Okay, so I'm back, and I just wanted to let you know that I now have a new folder in my Google Drive that says Meet Recordings, and that was modified at 10:42. Now, when I paused the video, I took a note that it was about 10:37. So about 5 minutes later, this folder appeared in my Google Drive, and now I can see here what the video is. Now you'll notice it's got a very, very awkward name on it, and that just so happens to correspond with the Google Meet session. So if I go over here to Google Meet, I close that session, so I'm not going to see it anymore, but that was the actual name of the session. But I do have a timestamp on that, so I know exactly when that was recorded. Now if I want to, and I probably should, I can right click and rename that, and I could just say that was my demo lesson. If you do end up having an extension at the end, try not to lose that extension when you rename your file. So when I go ahead and click this, now I can see, now I can see that this was my lesson. It's been processed by Google. This is a little long. I spent some time on my little icon here and talking to you about how to do this. So part of my video is that, but hopefully when you start recording, you'll get into your lesson pretty much right away. And you'll notice here that this is what I'm recording. I'm recording my screen here, and they're going to see me on the right-hand side. Now, if I had my camera on at this point, I would see myself instead of my initial. That's a decision that you need to make. Do you want yourself to be shown during the recording session? All right, so there's my recording. This is when I went full screen. So you saw that, and that's when I went to exit. And then here's when I just went through the slideshow. So you can go ahead and preview that if you want. All right, and when I was done, I stopped the recording and it went back. Now, some of you are going to have a tendency to be a little OCD and you're going to want to edit this. That is not a topic of this video. If you are using this method, I think you just need to be content with the fact that at the beginning and the end, you're going to see a little setup going on, and just be okay with that. So if you like the ability to do this in Google Meet, I would say go right ahead. If you don't really like it and you want to explore some other screen recording options, then you are certainly free to do that. Again, I hope that I have popped up a list of some potential options to you on my screen in the editing process. But I do think overall, even though this may not be exactly what you want, this does give you a good option of recording and narrating something for your students to be viewed later on.